Welcome back to the factoring review. Last time we did factors, polynomials where a was 1. We're going to move on and see what happens when there's no longer just a 1 before x squared. So the first type you might see is 3x squared plus minus 9x plus 6. We notice that 3 is in both 3x squared, negative 9x, and 6, so we can factor out a 3. So we're going to do that. So taking out 3 from 3x squared, we're left with x squared. Taking 3 from negative 9x, we're left with negative 3x. Taking 3 out from 6 leaves us with positive 2. And we notice that this is now a polynomial where a is 1, which we learned in part 1, so we can easily just factor this. So we carry the 3. We look at factors of 2. Factors of 2 are positive 1 and positive 2, and negative 1 and negative 2. The factors that add to negative 3 are negative 1 and negative 2. So this is going to be in the form of x minus 1 and x minus 2. And this is one of the types that you might see where a is 1. You simply get it to a polynomial where it is 1. So that's the first type. We'll look at the second type here. Here we don't have a greatest common factor between 2, 5, and negative 3, so we can't take out anything. So we're going to factor this by trial and error. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at 2x squared. I'm going to look at this 2 here. We're going to look at the factors of 2. The factors of 2 are 1 and 2. And so I know that whatever this factors to, it's going to be in a pattern like this, where 2 is here, and there's going to be a 1 here. If this was a 4x squared, however, it could be in two different patterns. It could be 2x times 2x, or it could be 4x times 1x. But since 2 is prime, we don't have that problem. So it's going to be in some kind of pattern like this. The next step we're going to do is we're going to look at negative 3 and look at the factors of negative 3. The factors of negative 3 are 1 and negative 3, and negative 1 and positive 3. We're going to go through each of these factors and plug them into wherever these places are, and position does matter, because this 2x, whatever this multiplies over here, will change this number here. So we're going to use these factors, and let's put this 1 in this point. So doing that, if we have 2x plus 1 times x minus 3, we'll see if it works out to give us that middle number, 5. So 2x times x is 2x squared, like we knew. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. We have positive 1 times x, which is positive x, and 1 times negative 3, which is negative 3. So we have 2x and negative 3, which is the same, but our middle number looks like negative 6 plus x is going to be negative 5x, not positive 5x, so it's not this pattern. But what if we switch the factors and the positions of those? So we can try that. So we have 2x, instead of putting the 1 there, we're going to put the negative 3 there. And we're going to try x plus 1. So now we're using the same factors, but we're just switching the positions. So you have 2x times x, which is 2x squared, 2x times 1, which is plus 2x, negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x, and then negative 3. But we see negative 2x minus 3x is negative 1x. It's still not 5x. So we know that's not these first two factors, which means it must be these two factors, but we still have to figure out the position of these two factors. So we're going to try out negative 1 in this position and 3 in this position, and see if that gives us our positive 5x. So you have 2x minus 1 times x plus 3. So we have 2x squared, we have plus 6x, minus 1x, and then minus 3. And if we solve this, 6x minus 1x is in fact 5x. So because it gives us what this is up here, we know that this is the proper way to factor 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. So that's how you would factor one, by trial and error. There is an easier way though than just testing every single factor and position, and it can get really difficult pretty fast. So we're going to use the AC method. The AC method tells you how to factor by grouping, essentially, is what it does. So first we're going to figure out what A times C is. So our A is 2. So our A is 2. And we're going to multiply that by our C, which is negative 3. So that's our AC. Just going to give that there. And that is a negative 6. Right? We are going to look at the factors of negative 6 and find out what gives us our B, which is positive 5. So the factors of negative 6 are positive 1 and negative 6, negative 1 and positive 6. We have 2 and 3, so we have positive 2 and negative 3, and negative 2 and positive 3. And looking through here, if we add them, 1 plus negative 6 is not positive 5, but negative 1 plus 6 is in fact positive 5, so these are the factors we're going to go with. Now what this tells us is not how it's going to be factored, but it tells us how we're going to split up this 5x. So what this means is we can split up 5x into this pattern right here, where it's negative 1x plus 6x. And we're going to rewrite this polynomial. Instead of using 5x, we're going to use negative 1x plus 6x. So I'm going to take this down and rewrite it. 2x squared is the same. We're going to write it as negative 1x. I'm just going to write that as x. And then plus 6x. So negative 1x plus 6x is 5x. And we're going to carry the negative 3. And that's how we've rewritten it. And now we're going to factor by grouping. So we're going to create two kinds of groups. I'm going to take the first two and create an arbitrary group, and the second two and create kind of an arbitrary group. And I'm going to just look at what's in our groups and factor out what I can. So in the first group we have 2x squared minus x. We can factor out an x. That's about all we can factor out. We're left with 2x minus 1. In the second group, where we have 6x minus 3, we have a common factor of 3, so we can factor out a 3. Now this is not being multiplied together, remember, this is a addition. This is a plus sign, so it's going to be plus 3. And taking out a 3 from 6x minus 3 is 2x minus 1. Now we notice something. We notice that this is x times 2x minus 1 and plus 3 times 2x minus 1. Now because these are the same factor, we can add this x and this 3. So we can take this and we can say, hey, this is the same thing as x plus 3 times our same factor of 2x minus 1. And that's how you factor using the AC method. So there are multiple ways of factoring, and those are the ways.